Hey, everybody. Welcome to the ReCoop. I'm Cooper Daniels, and I'm a guy that knows a little about a lot. And today I am here with Chris Swenor. He is the co-founder and CEO of the Reach platform and many other things that Reach is incubating, right? And coming up with.
That's right. That's right. You nailed it.
I did it. I did it exactly the way I was supposed to. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing amazing. It's a special day today.
It is a special day today. I mean, are you excited?
I mean, it's like a baby's being born. I mean,
yeah.
Pretty exciting thing.
Absolutely. And thank you, by the way, for taking the time to, come on here. I know. So right now it's what, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So Humble launches in a couple of hours. So
that's right.
So this is confidence right here. You're like, you know what? I can go talk to Coop, everything's fine. I feel like,
I mean, this was actually on the launch day checklist. It was like, okay, this doesn't launch unless I talk to Coop. So
yeah. Well, at this point, you got to go with the schedule, right? I mean, this was on the schedule. You got to do it. Everything has to go according to schedule. And you were joking on Twitter earlier. And, when we were in Austin, I was joking that, you've done every single Algorand themed YouTube probably 2 to 3 times now. And you finally decided to come hang out with me. What's the resistance? What happened here?
It's fear. Yeah, pure fear. Of like, what questions are you going to ask? I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that's it. I can feel that from every time I talk to you. It's just like, there's like this little thing in the back of your eyes. There's a timid nature to you, I think, that I pick up on, right?
That's I mean, I try to hide it.
I know you do. It's so hard. All right. So, okay, moving on from all that. So, all right, in case anybody out there is like, all right, we've heard of like Chris Swenor. We know about his beard. Like Reach is important. We know that, but we kind of don't, know what it does or something. Like, well, so maybe let's start with like, what's your journey? Like, how did you get to blockchain? How did you get to Algorand?
Sure. Well, my beard, I did not run a comb through it today. It looks very homeless today, so I apologize. But that ain't. It's lunch day. Give me a break.
You're busy. You're busy. I do see that there's a little there's a dent over here on one side, right. And then
exactly. Okay. This is how we are. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I get it.
So blockchain, I think many of you guys have actually heard me say that if you cut me, I bleed blockchain. Well, this didn't start yesterday. I have truly been in love with blockchain since about 2015. I discovered blockchain or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin exact in 2013, but I thought it was neat back then. I thought, okay, this could be something, but I didn't feel like it was time to actually devote my life to it. In 2015, that's when it all changed. When the idea of the trustless computer, when the ability to take a lot of the world's problems, because I mean, the main thing I also say all the time is that I believe the world's broken, that the people at the top have all of the money and have all of the power, and all of us peons are playing their game. And we're pretending that what we do matters, but like at the end of the day, they control everything, and it's sad. And it bothers me deep down inside.
Right.
And when the idea of the trustless computer came out in 2015, I thought, this is our chance. This is us peons' chance to actually truly change the world, to actually put things more in balance. It's not going to be a silver bullet, and it's not going to be easy. And the rich people will still most likely still be rich. But the goal is to actually balance things out a little bit, at least, Coop. So in 2015, I owned a pretty decent size services company back then. I say 2015, like it was like 5 lifetimes ago, back in my day.
But it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. But anytime that I had devs that aren't on projects, I asked them to build blockchain stuff. Like, do this, do that. Because I was really kind of exploring how do I jump in.
And what was it? Where were you? What was your business or before blockchain? Were you were in Web 2 working on that basically? Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time mentoring. Like I was a mentor at Harvard Business School. Actually, I was mentor there for a long time up until the pandemic when everybody had to go back home. Techstars mentor, Mass Challenge mentor. Did a lot of work with startups in the product side of things to actually figure out like how to actually take a good idea and scale it and build it into actually a large company. So the services company that I had was focused mostly on bringing startups from the startup stage to the growth stage and providing resources to help with that. So I did a lot of that back then. Okay. So I have a lot of experience actually launching scalable businesses, or helping at least with that. So like I said, but I knew my true passion was blockchain, like that's all about changing the world, making things better for everybody. And like in 2017, so it took 2 years of just me fiddling around and figuring things out, and where the blockchain would be special. Where a friend of mine came up and said, "Hey, I've got a great idea on how to scale blockchain, how to actually," because this is during like the crypto kitty stage where everyone was complaining about how high the gas prices are. If we only knew how great we had it, but back in the day, we're like, this will never scale. So I thought, okay, this is the thing to fix. So I sold off my entire company and jumped in with both feet, because I only ever do things all the way.
Right.
As you probably can tell.
Yeah. Beards included.
So, exactly. So I completely went all in and built out a scaling solution, built a prototype, raised a little bit of money. Not a ton, like only 800K back then, but built out a prototype and started shopping around. And the realization really quickly came that, like, I didn't want, like, this was also during the ICO craze where everybody was creating a token just for the fun of it. And I was completely against it, because I felt like unless a token had a direct impact on the product, raising a token is there just to scam people, or scam them out of their money. And I'm completely against that, as I'm sure many people heard me.
Yeah. And then at the very best, they're just basically fundraising with no real obligations. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I wasn't against that. So then the realization is like, okay, well then I need to create a business model. And if I sold to every single developer in the space this product, like, it wouldn't be enough to actually have a business model. So what that says to me is, like, there's not enough developers building things.
Right.
So I started doing more research. Like, okay, well, I obviously believe in blockchain. Blockchain is going to change the world. It's extremely important for the world. Where has there been a niche technical solution that went from niche to mainstream? And there's two things that really stood out. The personal computer. Back in the day, people used to talk crap about personal computers all the time, about how there's no reason for these things. And then everybody has a personal computer now. And the other one is smartphones. Why on earth would you need a computer in your pocket? Right. And then Apple came along and said, this is why.
Yeah.
And so I looked at both of those, and both times what it was that took it from a niche solution to everyday, like everywhere, is that there was a killer app created that everybody was like, oh, I see the value now. But the truth is that you can't actually predict a killer app. It's impossible to go to a whiteboard. You and I cannot go to a whiteboard and say, this is what's going to be the next killer app for blockchain. And this is why when people ask me this, I go, there's no way to know what the next killer app is. But what you do know is that a killer app is a numbers game, and killer apps are created after there's lots and lots of people throwing stupid ideas at the wall. And so this is what happened with the personal computer and the smartphone. Microsoft did this in the late 70s. They built the Microsoft operating system, DOS. And this is what Apple did with the smartphone. They built iOS, right? So, so we're like, okay, well, what we need to do is we need to build the operating system for blockchain. It's not the exact same thing as what a centralized product is, but there's actually tons of similarities. You need to make it so that you need to abstract the difficulty of blockchain development away. You need to make sure that traditional developers can come in, build easily, launch anywhere, and have the network effects of being able to help no matter where they're launching. And blockchain has a little bit different specific need of it needs to be safer because of the high stakes games that are being played in the blockchain because of the trustlessness of it. So we brought in Dr. J McCarthy. I'm sure you saw him. A lot of people have seen him. And for the old company to consult to figure out how to build the onboarding solution for that old company to actually kind of address these things. And he was building some awesome stuff. And I was falling more and more in love with the stuff that Jay was building because it made a lot more sense. Like, okay, sure, scaling is a problem, but that's like a problem for tomorrow. Today's problem is getting the developers in.
Right.
My current co-founder and I disagreed with the direction of the company. He pulled some shenanigans and kind of forced me out of the company because of our disagreements. But literally, like a day after that happened, I messaged Jay. I was like, "Hey, I believe in what you're doing. Let's go do this." And and Reach was created, and so that's what we did. We launched Reach to bring the millions of developers in the entire world into blockchain, so that we can provide them the tools to change the world.
Yeah. So basically the idea is let's make this easy to create these dApps so developers can come in and make a bunch of them. And then, like you're saying, if you make a bunch of them, one of them could be or will be the one that makes a big difference or a big impact.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, that's fantastic. When you're talking about what got you excited about it, there was a light bulb moment for me too, where I realized, like, I always thought, well, banks are a ripoff. Obviously, I was like, you putting my money in a bank. And then when I realized that, well, banks aren't a ripoff for very, very wealthy people. They actually provide great yield for a wealthy person. Somebody with, 10 grand in the bank is, there's no, I mean, I guess it's safe because of the FDIC insurance or whatever. But other than that, and then you see things like DeFi where it democratizes that kind of yield and everybody gets to play, even if you, don't have a ton of money. So that was something that also like brought me in. So, okay. So you have Reach platform. So what year was that you reached out to Dr. J and was like, let's create this?
That was way back in the year of 2019. September of 2019.
So there we go. Doesn't it feel like, because I mean, that's before the pandemic, and that pandemic really makes it feel like a forever ago, like a whole different world. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. September 2019 and Reach is created, and you guys have been rolling ever since. How large right now is Reach?
We are, I think we're almost 50 people.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Pretty large, right? 50 people in a little over 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like everybody I talk to is like, oh, I can't get a dev. Like everybody wants to hire dev. Everybody's having to pay up for developers and all of that. So, I mean, to be able to have a team of 50, I'm sure a lot of your people are in high demand. I mean, that's got to be.
Sure. But I mean, Coop, we fixed this problem. Like, we can take a regular developer and turn them into like a senior blockchain developer in 5 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
Like this. So yeah, we can grow this fast where nobody else is, because everybody else is trying to find senior blockchain developers that literally takes years and years and years of experience, and they're costing $500K for like legit ones. If you can find somebody for less than that, they're probably not a true blockchain developer, because the true blockchain developers that have those experience are, I know for a fact, because I see these job postings all the time, 500K. I saw one the other day for 900K. For obviously they're trying to get somebody from like Maker or something like that has like the legit experience. But we can take a regular senior developer in 5 to 6 weeks, get them to a point where they can build the same things because of Reach. Like, we have a severe unfair advantage over anybody, and anybody that wants to build on Reach has that same severe advantage.
And are you noticing that, across the community, Reach is becoming more and more known and respected, and people are reaching out, and this is like, are you noticing this growth? Is that something that you're seeing right now? Yeah.
We're still growing at like 5% week over week, which is nuts, of developers building applications. Wow. I mean, I think we'll hit, I haven't checked, but I think probably hit, we'll probably hit 5,500 developers a day. I think it was last week I announced we hit 5,000. I mean, it's pretty nuts how fast things are growing. I mean, so people are really, really loving it. I mean, we're getting better at letting people know, but during our summit last week, Jay did a live example to be like, hey, okay, if you don't believe how good Reach is, let me show you. So he actually built a brand new dApp in 30 minutes. from scratch. Be like, here, let's build it with tests and everything. It was an RSVP app where, there's examples of applications out that I've taken like months and months of people to actually building, and he built it live in 30 minutes. Like, once again, this was not copy and paste code. He literally like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk you through this, and built it in 30 minutes.
That's amazing. Well, and we were in Denver too, and one of the major themes of Algorand was figuring out how to make it easier for developers to build on Algorand. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. And so you are, you're heavy in Algorand. You've been building on Algorand for a long time, but Reach isn't just an Algorand project, right?
We are like, so the way I say is that in 5 years, when you ask anybody on the street to describe blockchain, they will describe Reach, because Reach will be the lens that the world views blockchain. This is just like if you ask somebody to describe the personal computer, they describe Microsoft because that's what they see, right? Or they, so yes, like we love Algorand. We have an amazing partnership with them. We've done some really great things with them, and they have, like, in my opinion, the best technology to build on top of. But at the end of the day, we want all developers in the entire world that want to build on blockchain to come on Reach and decide where to launch it based off of the underlying technology, and not how hard or easy it is to actually onboard, because we'll take care of that.
Right. So what chains is Reach working with right now?
So far, Algorand, like I said, the EVM, so the Ethereum virtual machine. So that takes a lot of them. Conflux, and the next one is Cosmos. And then we're in the process right now of figuring out what's the one after Cosmos.
Got it. So yeah, I saw on Twitter you were in a conversation with somebody from Cardano. Is that something that's on your radar? Yeah,
definitely on our radar. I mean, it's up to them to figure out exactly if they're ready for us to come over. I mean, at this point, we have more developers on Reach than what Cardano does. So I think that there's a huge benefit of that happening.
Right.
But it's up to them.
Yeah, it's up to them.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we're here, and then everybody's like, all right, come on, talk about Humble, Cooper. Like, but I'm just having a fun time talking to you. That's okay.
It's a big day. It's a big day, Coop.
It's a big day. So let's pivot real quick. So my first question about Humble is this the first one? So you're building tools to make it easier for developers to do it. Is this the first time Reach is incubating its own project? Yeah, this is the first project out of Reach Labs. Okay. We're really excited about it. I mean, to us, it was a no-brainer for DeFi to be the first product, because I think that, like, everybody sees blockchain as DeFi. So let's build the best DeFi suite in the world. We can do that. Yeah, and have you? So okay, so here we go. So in about an hour and a half, I'm going to be able to open up this app, and it's going to be a DEX, right? So we have it's Humble Swap, and it's going to be a DEX, and there's also going to be other tools rolled out, over the next couple of weeks, right? So what are we looking at? What are you most excited about with Humble? So number one, I like in general, the idea that it's DeFi for everyone. Like we're actually having a live help desk on page, so you can actually talk to a real person. I mean, that's amazing. I saw that. You have 24/7 customer support with real people, not bots. I don't know if it's 24/7. It's actually not 24/7, unless we're building up the team. So eventually 24/7, sure. But not day one, Coop. Slow down, Coop. 24/7. If I call, a guy will show up and like talk, on your door, like knock on your door. Like, how can I help you? Hey, I'm from Reach. Yeah, no, okay. So, but you have customer service, which is, I mean, that's unheard of, really. I mean, does that exist? I mean, at another DEX? I don't know. I don't know it. Yeah, I haven't heard that. Which is crazy to me that this doesn't. But so I'm excited about that, to actually help people answer questions live. And like the big thing that I really love is that it's very community focused. Like the pools that we're launching we're focusing on, like, community driven ASA pools. We're the reward system that we're going to be building out is focused on the community pools. Like yes, we're launching this, but the idea is that we're not going to own this. Like, the community is going to own it.
And that's kind of like the thing that we're really instilling from the very beginning is, this is why I'm on Twitter Spaces all the time. This is why like our team is extremely open to communication, is because this is not our product. This is your product. We're just the ones building the software. So especially when we launch the DAO and hopefully around June, you guys will truly be the ones directing the actual where this goes. So if you are a community member and you actually care about the direction, if you want ownership of something, there's really no better DeFi platform in the period.
Right. So how does it work? Launching a DEX seems kind of intimidating, just from like a liquidity point of view and all that. I mean, that sounds like, how do you solve that from just day one? I mean, you must have to provide a bunch of liquidity yourself or get help from Algorand. What's happening here? Borderless? What's going on over here? Yeah.
We have a wonderful investors, and all of our investors are providing liquidity. Funny thing is, like, we're not even actually released officially yet, and I think we're actually third most TVL on Algorand, and we're not even live yet. So we'll be all right.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right. Yeah,
we'll be all right, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this is an exciting, this is also an exciting moment for Algorand, because not that long ago, we were like, we don't even have a DEX, and now, there's Tiny Man, there's AlgoFi, there's, I think Pact, I don't know, are they on mainnet? Yeah.
I think so.
There's, Pact, and then there is Humble. So there's competition. So how do you, you're like, there's no competition. Come on, man. Like, what are you even talking about? But, that's cool. It's just good. It's just bullish as a guy on the outside being like, all right, I have options and, all that. But it's so you mentioned the DAO. How does that play out? So you're saying June, a DAO is going to launch. So basically, tell me, maybe I'm about to explain it when I know you understand better. Yeah. I'm not going to take this one.
I heard you know a lot about a lot of things. So
yeah. A little about a lot. Yeah. Oh, so I could probably tell them a little about this DAO just from, the little I've looked into it, but I think it'd be better from you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for passing the mic. You've talked enough, Coop. Anyway.
Seriously. Yeah. Seriously.
So we're launching a DAO. The DAO is going to do basic things like be able to adjust the fees and the actual, the sliders of the actual DEX itself. But it's also going to be full, like the DAO itself will own the Humble Treasury. It will be owned by the governors, and that will be able to create proposals and directions on the direction of where things are built. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it's simple, but because of how simple it is, it allows for extreme amount of flexibility. Governance holders will be able to say, I propose to use this much money on this thing and send this much money to a wallet, and then everybody vote on it. Because once again, this is your product. Like we are just the developers building this thing. We're doing a really good job at that. But at the end of the day, this is the community's product.
Yeah. So, so you mentioned, there's the DAO, and then I know you guys are also working on a project. Before we get to that, though, I was going to ask about, what was I going to ask about? I'm going
to actually answer your question more, because I didn't fully answer your question. Okay. That's on me. Okay. What's actually coming? And the truth is that yes, the DAO is coming, the DEX is coming, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
We're coming out with a open staking protocol, so that any ASA creator has the ability to reward their liquidity providers. We are also building in so Algorand has actually given us a grant, the Aeneas grant. We are angling it to focus on the community as well, so that's the even more benefit to the community members. We plan we're going to be launching the order book on top of our DEX, so that people can then just like if they don't like the price where they have it, they can actually put in like the pre-approved trades, and they will automatically go through when it hits.
Oh, so limit orders. That's not on many DEXs, limit orders, right?
Nope.
No.
So we have limit orders coming pretty soon. We once that's done, we're going to be making a push to derivatives, because, you know, exchanges are cool, but the true power in finance is in derivatives, and be able to actually, like, you know, take advantage of futures, shorts, you know, just options, all of the actual the financial primitives. I'm really excited for a thing called power perpetuals. They look it up if you guys are interested in it. It's a real fancy type of primitive. But yeah, like I believe that the future of decentralized finance is decentralized, like options, decentralized, derivatives.
Yeah. So just to go back to the beginning of what you were saying. So you said an open staking protocol. So that's basically like anybody, like if, you know, in some world where I create Coop coin, I can jump on Humble and provide some, you know, some Coop, and people can stake it and earn it. And there's no, like, you're not going to stand in the middle of that. Is that what that is? Or what is it? Yeah.
Exactly. That's like the main thing here is, like, we want to make sure, like, we weren't standing in the middle of it, the open protocol.
Yeah.
So so this is actually probably going to be helpful to your listeners, is that when you launch a product, like a decentralized product, you're launching two things.
Right.
You're launching the decentralized protocol that is a complete open protocol that anybody can use. That's it's completely decentralized. There's no gatekeepers. Anybody can do anything. They can create staking pools. They can create liquidity pools. It's up to them. And then you also launch a centralized piece to that decentralized product, which is the interface. The interface is a centralized thing, and you have to deal with the regulations. And this is the whole idea, the issue that Uniswap is dealing with their interface. But so we, you know, Reach owns the interface of Humble, but the open protocol is a decentralized protocol that anybody can build their own interface. This is why companies like DeFi and TinyChart, that we're partnering with them, they're building their own interface to the open protocol. So that's the actual perfect balance when you build a decentralized thing, is that that a centralized interface can be a completely different experience and a completely different business model for that. Like I see a world that there is an eventual premium Humble model where, like, maybe you pay $5 a month to have a extra special interface, because there's multiple different types of interfaces, and then people can build entire business models around a decentralized protocol.
Got it. So the protocol in the background is decentralized, but then the interface, what people are actually interacting with, the value that could bring, is what can make a centralized body profitable and while still being decentralized.
Exactly.
That's cool. That did help actually kind of understand that a little bit better. And then you also had mentioned right after it doesn't matter. So okay, so now you have tools. You're going to be building.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So whatever. It's not connecting as quickly as it usually does, maybe. But so you got Monarch, which is also building DAO tools, right? So why don't you tell everybody real quick? I'm sure you're busy today. I'm not going to keep you too long, but
my time is yours, Coop.
All right, good. Let's do this. All right. So I want to know about these things. I want to know about Game Jam. I want to know about Monarch. And then if I remember anything about Humble, we'll go back. I'm not scared to jump around. But so Monarch is DAO tools. And we talked about that a little bit. I talked a little bit about that at ETH Denver. And so can you just kind of break down real quick what exactly that's looking like, and, you know, when might those tools be available to everybody?
Yeah. So I think calling them DAO tools is way more boring than what Monarch is. Okay, that's like, oh, we'll provide you tools to create it out. Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. But what Monarch really is, it's a DAO of DAOs. Okay. Think of it as the United States of DAOs. So the Monarch DAO is an overarching governance that can actually mint sub DAOs. Now the sub DAOs are full blown DAOs that will be used for many different things. But the voting vehicle of the sub DAO are actually NFTs. Rather than having like a coin that can be manipulated, or, you know, all of the problems with governance tokens right now is that the creator of the DAO designates a set of NFTs that people use and own to actually as their voting vehicle. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about these is that you can actually evolve or level up the actual NFT to give yourself more voting power. And the process of that is that you're actually putting more money into the DAO. So the only way you can get more voting power is not buying tokens on an exchange, but actually investing in the DAO or putting money into the DAO through your NFT, because it's a smart NFT.
Got it.
And like the real cool thing is that by that NFT that you have voting power in the sub DAO gives you voting power in the Monarch DAO, like the federal government. So you have like the state governments where you have voting power, but you can take the same thing and vote in the actual federal government, which means that you are part of an entire ecosystem of multiple DAOs that are all in it together to be able to succeed as one.
Oh, that sounds cool. So you can imagine that like maybe a small or a medium-sized NFT project would want to use this, and this would be a great way for them to launch their DAO, and then or anything really. But then you're part of a greater thing. So these NFT,
Coop, I'm going to actually dog food this myself. I think I'm going to launch the thing I'm calling Dragon DAO. That is going to be a super simple NFT DAO that we're launching just to actually just so that I'm dog fooding it myself. So I see anybody to be able to use this platform and be able to take advantage of the overall ecosystem.
So then these NFTs are essentially like almost like a proof of, like a bank statement almost. Like you're saying how much you've deposited into the DAO, and that is then your power grows basically.
It's more like it's more like an identity with it's more like a decentralized identity, because the designation of like what your rank is in the DAO is part of that NFT that you can level up, and depending on the level is the voting power. So it's really kind of providing like NFT designation to identity.
Right. Well, that sounds really cool. So how close are we to that?
Ideation. In the process right now, we finished the white paper, the first draft of it. You can see it on Monarch, monarchnfv.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You can read the white paper. We're in the process right now of figuring out investment. Once that's done, we'll get up and running. I'm shooting for like a Q3 launch of this. We'll see where it goes. Like I said, I haven't made a big push because obviously we have Humble launching today, and that's my big focus right now. And then Alloy, Game Jam, which we haven't talked about that. I'll give you a little bit of information about that right now. I think this is new. I don't think I've actually said this anywhere, and I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this yet. But Game Jam is actually now rebranded as Alloy. So you'll hear me talking a lot more about Alloy. We haven't actually fully announced this name yet. I think we're going to be coming out of stealth in the next 1 to 2 months with a list of all of the games that have signed on to actually build it, because we have a bunch of AAA and AA games that are going to be using the system. Nice. But and then we had one of the world-renowned branding agencies to help actually build the Alloy brand. So we're excited about that.
Oh, that's cool. So that's before Monarch. That's next on the deck here. Yeah. And so I like Alloy. Was it the branding people that were like, all right, Game Jam's not it, or what made you pivot?
We all knew that. Game Jam was just like the working title. It's something that we can talk about. Everything has to have a name, but we always knew that that name was going to change, and that name is Alloy.
Yeah. And so if anybody out there is confused, Monarch and Alloy, these are all separate from Humble. These are different projects from Reach Labs, right? These are completely separate things that Reach Labs
their own teams, everything. Yeah. So like Mike Wallace is the head of Alloy. We snagged him from Blizzard. He was high up there. He was in charge of Battle.net. So now he's running Alloy. We actually ended up the head of product for the authentication tool of Blizzard. We actually snagged him for head of product of Alloy as well. So we've got like a really strong team. Ryan, who's our head of relationships there, is a 20+ year industry vet in he actually owns a publishing company for gaming, so he's been able to snag a lot of great names and industry vets to come into Alloy.
I mean, if people are like not really understanding, maybe you're nice or you're accessible, but Reach, you guys are building some big things. This is a big thing, you know, like you guys are doing big things. This isn't like,
I don't know,
you know, you're not like,
yeah, big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Like, look, I got nervous mid-interview. That never happens. You know, I'm just kidding. All right. So, okay. Just real quick, Alloy loot boxes. What does this look like? Are these like, how does this work? What am I excited about?
Alloy is a Steam competitor. So it's an entire ecosystem with the idea of interoperable assets. Mm-hmm. Now, like the big problem right now with loot boxes, if you buy a loot box, you're kind of stuck in that game, and you know that game goes away, it's dead. Even if somebody implements an NFT system, like if the game goes away, what is that NFT worth? Nothing. So we developed an entire model, and actually at this point, many other systems, everything from borrowing and lending to an entire cross game guild like protocol, but like an entire ecosystem with the idea that you are actually buying and investing in to the future of your gaming and not an individual game. That way that when you buy these assets, you can bring them from game to game, and contextually those assets will mean different things from game to game, but the ownership stays the same. And because this is really one of those things where I see, I mean, honestly, like I've been a gamer my entire life, but I see a world where I can, put my gaming assets in my will for my kids. Right. You know, like, hey, here, I've gamed my entire life. I've spent like lots of money on this. Now you have access to it because all of these assets will be able to be continuously used in games. And we build a system that actually invests in new games to be built for the system. So it's a true closed loop ecosystem that feeds back into itself that will allow to be last forever.
So what makes it, what would make one game accept, a token from another game? Is it just because they're all within the Alloy ecosystem, or are you seeing this be a bigger thing where it, like, how does that work? Is it because it's a closed system at the beginning?
Yeah, it's not a closed system. It's an open system, but to be in the Alloy ecosystem, you have to actually agree to use the Alloy assets. This is actually not a hard thing because we talk to a lot of gamers, like game companies, and the game companies that are open-minded and aren't trying to cash grab love our system. Mm-hmm. So many companies actually hate the idea of NFTs in gaming because they don't see that they're actually adding any value. We pitch, so Mike and Mike and the team went out to GDC this week and pitched Alloy to regular traditional game designers, and they said they heard multiple times this was the first plan of using blockchain in gaming that actually makes sense and doesn't feel dirty. That makes me feel special because I try to actually one of our values of our company is integrity. So we want to make sure that nothing we do is for the sake of blockchain, but it's actually because it's making the overall system better. Yeah.
So, I mean, as a gamer, was it through gaming that, Bitcoin came on your radar? Because a lot of before I knew about Bitcoin, the people that would mention it usually were gamers, guys that were like heavy gamers. It seemed like it was on their radar first. Is there any correlation there, you think, or you actually think that gamers reject kind of,
I think gamers at this point, if you read the news, several large projects have shut down their NFT blockchain arm because of the negative feedback from gamers, because gamers aren't stupid. If they see that, if they sniff out that you're trying to actually add blockchain because you're trying to cash grab, they're going to get mad. This is why we're very open with how the entire system works. And, I agree with the gamers. I personally wouldn't want my favorite game to add blockchain for the sake of just adding blockchain. If you make the overall system better because of blockchain, I'll love you forever for it. But don't cram blockchain into it.
Make me buy some NFT that is expensive, and so now people have an advantage because they have this NFT that was never necessary from the beginning.
Right, but like I said with Alloy, it's not. The difference is like what they've done is they said, how can we add blockchain to gaming? And what we've done is say, how can we completely reinvent gaming with the knowledge of blockchain?
Right. So, I mean, today's a big day. We've talked.
What we do is big. We don't do anything small.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, you're here on the ReCoop, man. I mean, I get it. You aim high, and look, you made it. So, I mean, look, today's a big day. How is today, like, when you go to bed tonight, and you look back at today and you think, all right, because I mean, this is the first one. I mean, I can't imagine that there's got to be some excitement. Reach Labs is launching its first product today, right? And so, you're going to go to bed tonight and you're going to look back today and how is today a success? What is a successful day play out? How does that successful day play out?
Well, obviously no major hiccups, obviously. Yeah. But like, honestly, like the thing that I care most about is community feedback. Like, yeah, when we launch a product, like this is blockchain is community. Blockchain is everything. Yes. It's all about that network. And so far, so good. People are getting excited about it, but it means so much more to me that the people that use it feel like not only that they think it's cool, but they feel like they're part of it. Like, and that's what I want. Like, if you use it, if the community uses it and goes, you know what, I'm humble. Like, that to me is like what I would see success.
Yeah. And then on the other side of that, what tonight you go to bed and be like, fuck, like, okay, we got some work to do. It's going to be fine. There's no scenario where it's not going to be fine, in my opinion. But so today is like, okay, shit. What are you worried about? Are you worried about anything? I'm not trying to get you to put out negative, but I'm just, is there something that is gnawing at you? Like, all right, let's hope for this. Like, I'm hoping,
my team is amazing. Like, it truly is. Like, the reason why we are what we are today is because we have some of the best, if not the best, people in the entire world. Yeah. I'm also not a big worrier, but when I have these people in my corner, I believe that we can take over the world, and we are. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about anything. Sure, there might be hiccups, but honestly, there's literally nothing that can happen that my team couldn't work through.
Got it. I mean, and you said it, like, I've got to be around the Reach, some of the Reach team a couple times now, and it's just like, it's community. And then it's just like with NFTs, like such, a lot of people don't understand how powerful community is in the blockchain space, in the crypto space. Different coins, we all band together, and we, sometimes it can be a little toxic and all that. I know people don't like crypto bros or whatever, there's a stigma out there, but it is a really kind of positive community in so many different ways. And it's important. And I think people kind of underplay that a little bit, and how important that is.
I mean, I think Alex from ALGO and I got into a Twitter beef about it probably like 6 months ago. Like, my stance is that community is everything. And I think his stance was, that's not true, which that's yes.
I feel like that's one of those things that you say, and because you're being contrary, and then all of a sudden you're stuck defending it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, shit, now I've got to defend this against this guy that's smarter than me. I'm not saying, I mean, never mind. That's me and you. That wasn't a slight at Alex.
ALGO, it's a project that's is trying really hard. So.
Well, and I feel bad now because we've talked about all the dexes, and I was like, there's WagMe Swap, there's, there's something that somebody will create in the future, but I didn't mention AlgoDex. AlgoDex came out. I mean, not that we need to sit here and talk about it, but
I'll talk about it. Sure, just go for it.
Well, they put himself behind the 8 ball, right? I mean, it's like, okay, right. You can't trade in the US, you can't trade in Canada, from Bali, you're good. I mean, I don't yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Alex is, like, I've fully supported him from the very beginning. I've sent him many messages in it, because I love it when people do things different, and AlgoDex is 100% different than everybody else. I think that's because of the way things are built, he's got to do it in a certain special way, which is harder. But I like, everybody that fully support being themselves and working really hard. He works really hard, and he's building something different. So, Alex, if you watch this, great job on what you're doing.
Cool. And I guess that leads me, has me thinking, like, you know, with the Algorand ecosystem as a whole, like what do you see? Is there anything in there that you are concerned about, or, you know, what's your your vision for how Algorand finds more eyes and mass adoption? And, you know, what are you thinking about Algorand right now? You've been here for a while, and
I have been.
and
I have been.
you know, you have relationships with all these people, so you know, you clearly are in the know. Like, what's the you know, the bull thesis from Chris, and then maybe even a little of like what is, you know, maybe if you have some bearish thoughts about it as well.
Of course. I mean, thinking with Algorand, like Algorand Inc., the team that's actually building Algorand is, I would have to say, is the best team building a layer 1 protocol in blockchain. I don't, if any of you guys watch this, I don't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. I mean, the thing is, like, we've got a really close relationship with Algorand Inc., and I probably am too critical of a lot of things they do, and I don't spend enough time talking about how great they are, but you guys are great. I think that what you've done and how fast you're moving is unparalleled in the entire blockchain ecosystem. And, you know, the technology is great, the team's great, and is amazing.
Maybe drop some names from the team. Like, what are some of these names of these guys that you're like, man, these people are fucking smart? You know, like,
you know, Paul Regal, head of product, Kelly, head of marketing, you know, Steve Kokinos, he's actually he's on our board. He's actually, you know, very, like, I talk to him all the time. He's amazing. You know, Sean Ford, I worked for Sean Ford years and years ago at a different startup, so I've known him for a long time. He's a great guy. You know, Rotom's great. I mean, like, I could list tons and tons of people that are just, you know, killing it over there. The individual devs are doing a great job. You know, the DevRel team, Jason Weathersby, like Ryan, and, you know, Ben, a new hire, Russ. The entire Inc. team is full of gems. I that alone is one of the reasons that I'm bullish. The community in Algorand, like, I've done my best to actually dive straight headfirst in the community. You've probably seen me in 1 or 2 Twitter spaces.
Oh yeah, man.
And I do it because they really care, and they care about actually changing the world. And, you know, yes, they love Algorand, but at the most important thing is to actually change the world, and that's why I love them so much. But yeah, I mean, I'm not somebody that's ever cared about price. I think that I'm playing this game for, you know, 20+ years. I'm not caring in the next what the even 20+ months is. So yeah, I think that Inc. is doing a great job.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that most guys have a similar journey with it, and think, you know, from what I understand, probably part of the strength of the community is that the main attraction for Algorand, which maybe has been a little limiting to keep it at a smaller group, is the tech, and is the gravitas of that tech team. And I think that's the big draw. And so, you know,
like, I talked a lot about Inc., and the truth is, like, the foundation, the teams on the foundation is amazing as well. Like Addy, you know, like I've been like this, like Addy and I go together like, you know, peanut butter and jelly. So Addy, if you're watching this, you're amazing. And, you know, Joanna, PG, they're like the foundation team, and Stacy joining. I can't wait to see what she does. I think there's tons of opportunity, and you know, I can't wait to see what she does with this.
Yeah. And you've talked about it.
Like, her background's amazing, right? Like,
oh my God.
And I've talked to her a few times. Super smart.
So smart, so nice. I mean, very nice, but like, not like a, you know, not like nice, like a, you know, whatever. She's like just very solid, and also engaged, and being like, I'm going to engage with this community and you guys, you know what I mean? Like, it feels great. Like I think that's the right approach. You've said it a few times. You said, you know, one of the major things, I think you said integrity for Reach. Was integrity the word? Yeah. And, you know, you've been in this space because since 2015, because you saw the potential of blockchain to change the world. And that is that is why, you know, a lot of people got into this. Obviously, a lot of people get into it because of price and, you know, Wind Moon and Shiba, whatever, all the games that are around this. You know, recently with like the world, the events in the world and everything, you know, you had Vitalik Buterin kind of make a comment saying something along the lines with the Bored Apes. And he wasn't like slandering the Bored Apes or anything, but he was saying something along the lines, if there's anything good that is happening from what's happening in the world, is that people are remembering why blockchain is here, like what we're doing here. We're trying to make things better, not just sell $2 million apes. Like, is that how you feel about this? Like, what are you seeing with the, you know, what are you seeing that blockchain in general, not just Algorand, can, like, in a clear sense, like take us and like make things better, you know?
Yeah. So I believe in the future is successful when the rails are decentralized. I think that there is opportunity for individuals to make a lot of money in the space, and that's okay. As long as it's built on decentralized rails that allow us for little people to be able to, you know, still participate. You know, think about like Uber on the blockchain. There's still room for Uber, a centralized product on the blockchain, as long as the car drivers are a public good that can be shared to, you know, the Cooper Drive website that has the same access to those drivers, but is a completely different interface. And this goes back to what I was talking earlier, where there's a decentralized public good and a centralized interface. Right. And so I'm okay with people making a lot of money in this space as long as those rails are decentralized. Yeah.
So the idea is that Uber can survive on the blockchain if they provide the coolest interface that everybody wants to use, and they would have a lead because everybody knows what Uber is. So Uber should move to the blockchain. And I guess the way we'll kind of tie this up is, and what was I going to say? Damn it. Doesn't usually happen so much where I have this great idea, because I think I'm actually listening. Maybe I don't listen all the time. I'm actually listening to you, and then you take me on another drive. I'm like, oh yeah, Uber should move to the. All right. Well, I mean, what else?
You heard this first, everybody. He only listens to me. Everybody else,
it's all a show.
It was all a show. This is real. This is live, non-scripted.
This is non-scripted. I'm actually being like, wait a second. I should listen to these people more often. Maybe I should even write down questions. That might help.
Just me.
Just for you.
I mean, worry about it.
What else do you, what else? What's going on? Like, what are you doing next? Are you going to immediately go to your computer and see what's going on? Or
I have a meeting with key players in the Algorand ecosystem, right? Like in 1 minute. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to jump into that meeting. I'm going to be giving my opinion. Probably people are going to get mad at me. You know, the normal.
This is just what you do. You just say what you're thinking. I feel like, you know, I was saying that you're a nice guy. And I know you are, but like, you're also a person that is going to call it like you see it. And I mean, how do you create value otherwise, really? Right.
Agreed. People get mad at me, so I apologize to everybody that gets mad at me. It comes from a good place though, so
it feels like it. It feels like it. All right, Chris. Well, I know you have that meeting. Thank you so much for taking this hour. You know, we went on. I made sure to, you know, milk this for as long as I could. You know, I had a great time.
Hey, we'll do this again. Promise you.
Do it again. All right, promise. All right, yeah. After you do Crypto Nerd another 7 times, you'll head over. Of course. All right. See you later, man. Thank you.
See you.